You are an idiot. And you know what they say about opinions, right?
I don't give a damn. They like,
don't you even start your stuff.
Girl, come on. I don't give a damn. I'm ready.
You always ready. You stay ready because you ain't got to get ready.
You already know. Because it's about what?
To each his own.
Don't sit there looking all confused. Sitting there looking interview fucking ready. Well, guys, welcome to another episode of Teachers on 215 Podcast. I am your host, Miss Lomax.
I'm also your host, Sunkiss_Chuck.
And as you can see, we have some guests with us here today. So if you guys don't mind introducing yourself one by one, I guess starting with the gentleman on my right, and then we'll go over.
Oh, well, I'm Jamir, friend of these two right here. I met them.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show, definitely a fan of the show. Subscriber. I'm a financial analyst, business analyst here in Philadelphia, and a small time real estate investor, growing. And that's about it, really,
Right.
Happy to be here.
We happy to have you.
All right, I'm Jerrell Thompson. Also met these two young ladies at a networking event a few weeks back. We had a great conversation. We seem to have a lot in common, so I wanted to, come and appear on the show, offer some information that I think might be useful to their audience. I'm a certified public accountant, but for short, you can call me a CPA. I'm also a realtor and an IRS enrolled agent. Now, IRS enrolled agent doesn't mean I work for the IRS. It just means I speak the language.
Oh, yeah, because I got no scared.
Yeah, no, that means I work for the people, and I'm just, the middle guy between the people and the IRS to get things untangled and worked out in everyone's best interest.
You like Jesus.
My name's
Jesus. Jesus paid it all. Okay, great. I like that. So they just gave y'all an earful and a mouthful, and I'm happy to dig right into it. So just for starters, I know you are a CPA. We talking about we had a bunch of business and financial terms just kind of thrown around a little bit between the two of you guys.
Yes.
Of course, it's 2021. We're soon going into 2022. Facing the pandemic, a lot of people started to start the businesses. But we know that everybody can't be a boss, that we need to have workers too. So just kind of keeping that in mind, I just wanted to get the opinion of you two. Do you guys think the 9-to-5 work schedule is outdated?
Well, personally, I don't. I think there are a lot of benefits to a 9-to-5. Personally, one, it makes it a lot easier for a lot of people to purchase real estate. Banks give you a hard time if you're 100% in entrepreneurship and your numbers and everything isn't tidied up and looking the right way. And I think the 9-to-5 gives most people the stability that they need, households and homes, while they're actually getting their business up and running. So I'm not against a 9-to-5 at all. You just got to know how to, use it the right way. Like understand what it stands for and what it means in your life. So I don't think that is outdated. I don't think it'll ever be outdated.
I like that. I don't think it'll ever be outdated. Okay. Yeah. What you think?
No, I agree with him. 9-to-5 is definitely a stable source of income. I mean, if you talk about when they talk about 7 different ways of income, 9-to-5 is a part of that. There's also investments and other things as well, but you can't really get like that type of stability through when you own your own business. You can, but when you're starting out, they tell you your business may fail in the first 3 years or so like that. So working a 9-to-5 and working your business as well may be the way to go. And that's actually kind of what I do. How my approach is to my real estate investments. I will never leave my 9-to-5 ever, because unless there's I'm bringing in touch with me because I have to focus on that more. There's no way I could leave that type of stability. I mean, healthcare, steady income, all kinds of things that go with that. So I agree.
I kind of wish she was here for our 1-year episode when we had the argument about like the entrepreneur that has a 9-to-5 versus the one who's just solely entrepreneur. Yeah. And it's like the different struggles that it was a really interesting conversation.
We had a guest that literally said that he doesn't feel as though if you have a 9-to-5 that you're actually an entrepreneur. Now, of course, we had a debacle about that.
We did.
Definitely.
Yeah. What are you going to say?
Share. Tell us.
I was going to say people that have 9-to-5s are entrepreneurs. It's all about perspective.
Right.
You're still selling a service to the marketplace. Your agreement with that company is just selling. It's not a contractual one that we're typically used to on the entrepreneurship side. So I think we are all entrepreneurs. We package our services or our products and we sell them to the marketplace in different ways. So I don't know what the person was getting at. I mean, he may have, his validation for feeling that way.
Absolutely.
But I just think entrepreneurs got to get out of that mindset. People that are all the way there, when telling people that there's just one size fits all. Like, you can't really just say that your situation applies to everyone else.
Yeah.
It's always more than one way to skin
That
a
was my
cat.
point.
I think people just think the structure of a 9 to 5 just makes you not an entrepreneur. But like you said, we all are selling things to our employers and things like that. He's a CPA. He's selling his knowledge and how to, work the books and things like that to the company he works for. I'm selling my my ability to analyze businesses and things like that. I'm an entrepreneur, even just because it's in a different structure than you're owning your own business. And somewhat freedom that they say you have as an entrepreneur doesn't mean you're not one.
Right.
You can have several jobs. You guys doing podcasts and working other things.
That was our point.
That was our point.
Argue towards it. It was like you can take your 9 to 5 and, like you said, and fund
your dream.
Business.
How else are you going to fund your business?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And
his
his whole argument, his stance on that, and I don't want to just like solely speak for him, but from what I heard from my perspective was that like we don't have that to fall back on. It is solely us getting up every day to work towards what we want, and we have to fund that while on our way, but we don't have that job to fall back on.
that's
it's
his choice, though.
And that's how I felt about it. Like, like it's a choice for me to be able to do these two things at one time also.
Because going to work is a choice as well.
I think people like, well, I don't know, I want to speak for them, but people like myself that's like financially conscious, you're going to think about this, like, I need this 9 to 5. Like, your fallback plan is the 9 to 5 because business, like you said, business can fail. You need different funding. The banks want to see the income, and there's no way, unless you're as an independent person, you can prove that. All you have is the 9 to 5 to fall back on. I mean, I go through that myself, just trying to get lending from the bank with my own LLC. I just started one this year, and it's like they're like, oh, we need to see proof of that income. So I couldn't show it, but I darn sure could prove it with my 9 to 5. I got the income, So no matter how many leases and things I got, if it ain't documented, they ain't trying to hear it. So
that's our social. If it's not documented, it didn't happen. That's our field.
Yeah.
You gotta write it down.
I honestly came into entrepreneurship after quitting a job in 2017 because like what I would need to do for my business to get it up and running, it overlapped what I would do for a company. So there would have been a conflict of interest, like our schedules wouldn't overlap the right way, and it just would have been a problem. So I left the company, started entrepreneurship. I tried to buy a house later on that year. Now I have the savings and everything to buy the property, but they were like, no, you need at least 2 years worth of entrepreneurship on your tax returns for us to really bake that income into the situation or bake that into the loan. So I actually had to go get a 9 to 5 to get qualified for that actual loan. And then I got really established in my business, like my business can take care of me and then some. And then I went back into corporate as well. So I take on corporate contracts to this day because I'll be leaving a lot on the table if I didn't see myself as an entrepreneurship that can lend services to the corporate structure as well. Because they need what I do too. So why would I say, no, I'm against that when they can take care of me, my family, help me buy real estate a whole lot easier, expand my portfolio? Because the goal is, while we're young and we got the energy, we got to max out. We got to max out our potential and then make smart decisions once we actually get the money. So it's like if you know that you have a standing or like a real stable situation in the market, in the corporate market, why wouldn't you tap into that on top of entrepreneurship? Why wouldn't you try to figure out a healthy balance between the both of them so you got your freedom over here, but you got your stability over here? Because like Jamir was saying, you don't really know how your business is going to perform at first. And while you're trying to figure all of that out, it's good to have that stability there for you.
Yeah.
Can we do a cheers today, please?
Yeah, cheers, y'all.
I like that.
Cheers.
We didn't do it at the end of the
We
show,
did do it at the
so
beginning.
that was the moment. I'm feeling it. And I appreciate the fact that you jumped right into what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you, how did you come into working in this industry and you started it? So Jamir, let's hear it from you. How did you get into the field of finance? Yeah. Was it something that you were always interested in, or it was just
Did it just fall in your lap?
I think it was a little of both. Honestly, it was growing up broke. That's how I got into it.
I mean, you would think that it would be that for everybody. That'll do it. If don't nothing else do it, that will.
And I don't knock. I mean, nobody wants to grow up broke, but it made me who I am. My mother always taught me, great to be I guess, be financially savvy, be better with them. Because she said she was never good. She's like, I need you to be better with your money. And she would always teach me things. Crazy. She would always teach me things, and I really couldn't see her practice it. But that's just a different story of how people in low income situations, they tell you the rich dad, poor dad, the rich teach their kid, poor don't. That's not necessarily true. Poor, they teach you. Oh, I was taught. We don't really have the resources to show, and so it's up to me to take those lessons and move it forward. But everybody doesn't, in those situations, you're not always able to do so. You're kind of trying to survive at the same time. So how do you try to use those lessons you're learning and survive at the same time? How are you teaching me to save when I need every dollar? It's kind of about like, we're taught that, but I can't do it. So, that's how I got into finances. And I guess more in the professional finances and things. I probably started when I taught myself how to read the stock quotes and things like that, like the 6th, 7th grade. And then I met an actual investor on Wall Street, and he pushed that even further. So as I learned more about it, that's how I got more into finance and accounting actually. So,
that's impressive.
We're learning more about you.
I thought I was a nerd. Shit, he was really like Steve Urkel.
It's okay. Leave my mans alone.
It's a dope ass shit. I'm just saying, like 6th, 7th grade shit.
That's just being interested in, like you said, just being interested in things that was different. And nobody in my family knew what a stock symbol was or a ticker or what today's market changes or things like that. And so, reading, especially then, there was no internet or phone. So I'm reading newspaper stock codes every day, trying to get my one teacher will have the newspaper. I would read it, and people are like, "What are you reading?" I'm like,
that's what makes
I'm just checking.
Versus now your iPhone, you just like scroll down and it's right there.
Exactly. It's right there. It comes right there.
Right there. Okay.
So that's how I got into finance. Just trying to be better with money, and so I wanted to learn more about it. And you see the success around you, and it take money to get there. So I need to know as much about money as possible. So
absolutely.
That's how I got into it.
It really is the ultimate tool. Like it really is.
Yeah, it's definitely
on top of being the unfortunate root of all evil.
For sure.
It's the catch. Money is the catch-22.
The love of it.
It's the root of all evil.
You're absolutely right.
Depending on the person.
Depending on who's controlling.
Who's controlling it? Who's controlling
the love of money?
That's why
can
it's
be
the love of
it. Depends.
Because it depends on whose hand it's in.
That's why sometimes people idolize it. You gotta look at money as a
tool.
A tool to get you where the opportunity, use the opportunity you need. You definitely need money, but it's not everything, but it definitely creates opportunity for sure, and allows you to, do some things that others can't.
It definitely talks.
There we go with the first ghetto moment of the segment. Okay, there we go. I appreciate you guys for explaining that. So, what exactly, you guys have two different career paths. You're a CPA and you're a financial analyst. So clearly you guys look at numbers differently. Can you talk to us in the audience a little bit about the difference in how you guys approach numbers in, I guess,
So there's two sides to me. It's like there's my professional side and then there's like my investing side. My investing side is probably going to coincide more to what Jamir does. He looks into the future and I look into the past.
Gotcha.
So I'm a CPA. I look at what's happening and what has happened, and I basically determine what's going to happen in the future a little bit, or I communicate to business owners like how their business is currently performing and what they're going to need to change if they're going to survive or do better in business. So that's really my job, to tell them where they're making mistakes, to look back and really just help them analyze the information and whatnot. So that's what you would hire a CPA or put a CFO in place to do. But we have to have a little like introspection into like what's going to happen into the future, but that's not our whole job. The bulk of our job is to analyze what's happening right here, right now, and give you the reality of the situation. Now, I'm not the guy that like people are happy to hire. He is. He makes some money. I tell them what they not to be.
It was given there. I just want to let you know, Jerrell. It was given
It's not necessarily true, though.
No,
No, not necessarily.
Depending on who you are.
I'm delivering what they gonna owe in taxes.
But
that's what I'm saying.
You can also save them in taxes. You're
in the future.
A great accountant, first of all, for all the business owners out there or wanting to start a great accountant is the thing you need to hire. I have a person that does my tax, but she's not a CPA. I trust her the most. But at some point, I'm going to have to hire this guy. This is the person, because you're going to have a lot of things that only they know. If for sure. But you know, because I studied accounting and finance in school as well, so I understand exactly. I'm not a CPA. I definitely did not go that far because the test was just like, nah, this ain't it. But this ain't it. It was a lot. But you know, I would say that for him, to make it easier for folks to understand, 1 + 1 has to equal 2 for him. For me, it's like, you know, I need 1.2, you know, 1.3, a couple of variables, and we might get the 2, 2.5 or something like that. And I was like, around that, give or take, you might come out to 1.97. But, you know, that's the area that how finance works, especially when it comes to like investment. You're taking a lot of numbers and different things that happen and placing them into a calculation. This is what we expect to get.
Projection.
He's telling you what it should be. Like, you have these actuals, it should be this. And I don't know what happened, but I'm going to need you to find it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
Exactly.
Because it's not going, if it don't balance, it's not accounting.
Exactly.
I can have mine all balanced. And I argue all the time in my job when they're looking for like, you know, exact number. I'm like, this is finance. Like, why are we, this is a budget. Like, who cares that it's off by $5 or $500,000, like, because we're dealing with billions of dollars. It's like, you know, that happens. There could be a round in there, and we could be off $30,000, something like that. But for him, for the accounting team, I said that's a different story. I don't have to deal with that. That's those guys. But, you know, but so just to make it simple, but I agree with what he's saying as well. You know.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. I think for the audience, exactly, they're gonna be like, okay, so what the fuck? But it makes sense, I guess, again, depending on who's listening, depending on who's watching.
For sure.
It makes sense because past numbers and future numbers are two different sets of numbers. So
They are. Mine are, you know, they may come out to be, they say people like me make the money. That ain't, I could lose you a bunch of money also. You know, and we're for real with investors. You put your money into the hands of, you know, financial people, and you see it all the time. Athletes, they lose.
So you're like gamblers.
We are professional. I don't work on Wall Street, but you know,
because that's where my mom went.
Yeah,
because that's where my mom went. I'm like, hold on.
I don't work on Wall Street.
Y'all playing with my money?
I work for the feds, but you know, I understand it, and that's kind of why I didn't go into it. They are professional players. They're legally allowed to gamble with your money. You give them your money. They take all these invest, do a lot of research. Most they should, and use different data and analytical tools, and put it into the market and hope that it's supposed to be. There's a lot of calculations that so they can be accurate, but there's a chance anything can happen, and you lose it all.
Sounds like
and so probability. This guy here is going accurate.
I hated that subject.
And it's just about them thinking who got the best probability perspective.
Yeah, right.
And you don't really know who to trust. There's so many people out there that's lying, folks.
But the best thing available to us these days is one, information, and two, individual brokerage accounts.
Yes.
Like that's when you can go and create an account with TD Ameritrade or Robinhood or
Vanguard
or E-Trade, Vanguard, and you could actually pick your own stocks, do your own homework, and invest, so you can live and die on your own
I definitely got a Vanguard account.
You can definitely. He's exactly right. But you should definitely always.
I'm not
do
the
your
type
research.
of person that jumps. Yeah, that was my next thing.
Yeah.
I'm not jumping into nothing if I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I'm very big on it. Like I need to have a certain type of grasp on something before I can not saying that I don't take chances, but I need to have a certain my grounds.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So because I'm like that shit is a risk, and I'm willing to take the risk, but I need to know more.
People always investing in things that hear other people say, and it's just because it's something that you use don't mean it's a good company to invest in. Just because it's something. Plus, if somebody else is saying it, it's probably too late anyway to be getting into.
There you go. They done already jumped on it before anybody ever saw it. Like
the rule is be fearful when people are being greedy, and be greedy when people are being fearful. So if everybody's everybody's on
something.
Can you
say that one more time so the people can hear you and slow it down?
That's not mine. That's kind of like a Warren Buffett quote.
No, it's okay. Yeah. No, I know, but I want you to say it so people can hear it and understand it because it kind of goes into what I was going to ask you guys next. So please.
Just be fearful when people are being greedy, and be greedy when people are being fearful.
Absolutely.
And so, you want to buy when they're selling, and you want to buy and sell when they're buying.
My favorite buying strategy is dollar cost averaging.
Yeah, that's good.
Because we can't really predict the market. They got robots and all kinds of stuff on
All
Wall
kinds.
Street that still get it wrong. So what you want to do is, let's say you look at your salary, you calculate and say, I'm going to put 10% into the stock market. I'm going to buy 10% worth of stocks this year. So if I make $100,000, I'm putting $10,000 into the stock market. But you don't want to put that $10,000 all in at once.
No.
Because let's say you buy while Apple is just getting
hammered.
yeah, like or when they're getting more and more good news and like they just keep hitting the media and everyone's like start riding this wave and everyone's buying into the stock and it starts to exceed what it's actually worth. And you spent all your 10 grand at once and then you didn't really understand what you were investing in, so Apple decides it's gonna pull back 20%, which is normal for a stock if you're holding for the right period of time. But if you bought while it was, at $100 a share and then now it's pulling back and you put all 10K in there, pull it back to 80, you just lost 2 grand. So now you're looking at your account like, no, I'm gonna lose all my money. Then people make the make the mistake of pulling out. Where if you just put 1,000 in when it was at $100 a share, 1,000 in when it was at 80, 1,000 in when it was at 70, now your average price is a lot better than it would have been if you'd have just spent all 10 grand when it was worth $100 a share. Now instead of making money when it gets back to $100 a share, you lost money and now you're just breaking even. So, and then another thing is that allows you to adopt more of a long-term mindset. A lot of people invest thinking it's about flipping, and they go in with a bookie mindset, like, yo, I'm betting on this year. But no, studies show that if you hold the stock for at least 20 years, your chances of losing money are less than 1%. Yeah. So you don't lose money the longer you hold. You're buying in. Once you know the company and you start to see Apple drop 20%, you know Apple's not going anywhere. You know their infrastructure. You know what they're planning to do in a few years. Exactly. So if it drops down to 80, you know to start scooping it up like kitty litter instead of selling off like most people who don't understand the asset is actually doing. So dollar cost averaging allows people to like not get burned and buy in at a real good price and like just keep their eye on the prize, which is long term. Nobody's investing to be rich next year. That's not why we do it. If you're not holding it for 10 years or longer, you're not really investing.
That's why hold the line is so important. That's why I see people say hold on.
Yeah,
see, I be just trying to like
people want instant gratification. They want to, and they see what goes on from professional investors. That's not us. We are small compared to those people. Buy and hold is the way to go. Diversification. Don't even if you mention Apple, your whole 10,000 Apple. That's still super risky. Even though Apple's a trusted, established blue chip company, but you want to get maybe into a fund also that includes Apple. Maybe Apple's their primary.
Another entity?
Well, no, not entities. They have things like ETFs or mutual funds like that. But Apple may be their number one or top purchase in that within that fund, and other tech funds as well. So then, if Apple may not do so well, another Nvidia or Tesla or something does well and pushes that up. But like you said, you want a dollar cost average that as well. You want to buy over time and things like that. But just not. Approaching it as a short term a way of making money.
No, I definitely think it's long ball. That's what I call it.
We can't beat them. Like I said, they got computer systems that are doing it for them. You can't beat those folks out. You never. So hold it for 20 years.
And that's the game that.
Just like you would do a property. Like the flip, there people do make money on the flips, but buy and hold. I mean, that's my strategy. I can't say it doesn't work, but I guess what I was trying to say, if you purchase a home, $100,000, 20 years from now, it's worth $250,000. If you bought a home today, $100,000, sold it tomorrow, next year, it may be worth $110,000. So that's just how it is.
I like real estate to really teach people about investing because when you buy a house, you're not thinking about selling it right away. Like you really thinking about holding on to it for a long time, whether you're going to buy multiple properties or you're just going to buy that one. You're not really thinking unless you got into it to fix and flip. You bought something to flip. So most people when they invest, you live in a house for more than the last 2 years and owned it for the last 2 or 5, like had control of it for the last 2 or 5, right? If you make up to $250,000 on the sale of that home, you don't have to pay taxes on that if you're single. And if you make up to $500,000 and you're married, you don't have to pay tax on that. Listen to that. You bought the house for $100,000 and you sold it for $350,000 maybe 5, 6, 7 years later, and you lived in the house for at least 2 of the last 5 years. When you sell that house, that $250,000 that you made, you take that tax free. There's nothing else on the market right now that'll do that for you. And the whole time you can write off property taxes, you can write off the interest on your loan, you can write off depreciation, the wear and tear as long as it's investment property. I'm speaking, if it's a 2-family or an investment property of some sort. Even if it's a residential, you still get to keep that money without paying taxes. But those extra write-offs come if you use the property for investment purposes. So now you turned it into a business. Look at those write-offs. Like this country's tax code is really built on investing. Like if you make $50,000 or $70,000 next year, you're in about 30. You're getting close to a 34% tax bracket, right? 32. If you make $1 million on an asset that you've held longer than a year, you only gonna pay 20% taxes on that. So how the hell does somebody who makes $80, $90, or $100,000 pay 34%, but somebody that just made $1 million off an investment only made 20? Because this is built for business owners, investors, and people that own real estate. There ain't really there's nothing that compares to real estate. Because if you sell a house that you didn't live in, you can roll that forward in something called a 1031 exchange. Yeah. Not pay taxes on that either. So we can make money on flips as well and roll that into another property at equal or greater value and follow a few rules that go with that and keep kicking the can down the road, buying bigger and bigger and bigger, parcels of real estate, parcels of land. And essentially, as long as you never sell out of that structure, you never have to pay taxes. You pass it down to your kids. They don't got to pay taxes. You know what I'm saying? So real estate is where we all want to end up,
See how hard your accountant is the way to go? He saves you money. And it's definitely the person to have. Don't overlook that accountant.
We told
Don't ever overlook the
accountant. My dad is like dead set on that. Every time I talk to him about something, he's like, let me go check with my accountant on that. Yeah. Like, that's his favorite.
Check with your accountant, for sure. You want to see the auditor. You want to see the accountant.
Mm-hmm. I actually sell that service to the market. That's what I do.
As you should.
I understand.
But that's why I learned how to read financial statements through auditing. Because like he said, sometimes if a number is off by like $500,000, that's nothing to them. They're dealing with $1 billion fund. But we set together thresholds where we say, all right, that's over 2% of revenues, right? So we got to go audit that and see when we're wrong, because we about to give these financials to the public.
Right.
And we got to make sure they can trust these financials.
Absolutely.
Right. So
Yes. So sounds like you're talking about my 9 to 5.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie to y'all now. I know we had this conversation last episode about how when people get their MBAs, they kind of go overboard. But no, I've been reading the shit out of my 9 to 5 ever since I learned a little bit of shit from my MBA.
Even before then, it's just like, woo.
But I learned a little bit more. I've been reading the shit out of them. They got me meeting with executive people. No, okay. Anyway, but so y'all said a whole bunch that was definitely valuable.
Yes.
Are there any specific misconceptions or common misconceptions that you guys would think people that have about business or investments that people kind of hang themselves up on?
Yeah.
Maybe about business. I would think one would be people thinking that in business that how should I say they assume that you're gonna have it's like we talked about earlier that it's 9 to 5 versus being an entrepreneur. People think that if you quit your 9 to 5 and you go into entrepreneur, it's like complete freedom and things like that. Like, I'm able to do this and be my own boss and all that. When you become an entrepreneur, you're gonna work as harder than you ever worked in your life. And I'm only a part-time business owner. Like I have a 9 to 5, but if you don't work, you don't eat. If you don't put 110, 120% into your business, then it won't succeed. And you can go to work 9 to 5, and people like, I don't feel like it today. Somebody may say something, somebody may not. If you don't do that,
that was his whole argument. That's why it's so funny. That was his exact argument. He sat right where you sat and said the same thing. He said, you can wake up tomorrow and say, listen, I have personal time. I don't feel like it today. He said, but me, I got to get up and go every day to make sure that all my bills are paid, to make sure my son is taken care of, and to make sure my business keeps rolling. I don't have that choice. I have to get up every day. Nobody else is going to be like, oh, it's time to get up. Or
my argument is you don't have to go to work. Because if I want to wake up and quit tomorrow, I can, and I'm going to still be in the same position you are.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that honestly, I can go on and on about that.
Yeah.
About that,
I just want to put that out.
Some people gotta realize you own a job and not a business. It's not a business until you don't have to get up and it continues to make you money.
Come on, mister.
I'm just saying, if you can't leave the country or you can't take time off and your business continues to make money, you got more work to do because you own a job, not a business. Yeah. And one of the biggest misconceptions that I see in business is a lot of people seem to think that you can just leave your job and it's just going to work out for you. But as a CPA, I've been working with dozens and dozens of small business owners over the years. I've only ever been asked to review one business plan. One over the years. People literally hear something on the internet, quit the job, and run into the business. Don't do any research on the market, on the product. They don't even know their product, you know, and then they don't know why they're charging $10 more than their competitor because they don't know how to articulate that. All right, we putting this, that, and a third in it when they're putting that in it, and that's what their product is going to do versus what my product is going to do. They're not knowing their product. They're not doing the homework. And I just wish more people would focus on that aspect and then like understanding the plan of it all and being able to run the business correctly. I see people spending personal money, you know, out of the business account, aka just ruining the LLC, piercing the corporate veil. Yeah, like they're not running payroll the right way, you know, all that kind of stuff. They're not taking the right distribution. So let me break that down. So when you start an LLC, you're only allowed to run business income into it and business expenses out of it. If you want to pay yourself as a manager, you have to set it up in your operating agreement to show how you're going to get paid, what your salary is going to be, what your distributions are going to look like, and you got to stick to that. Have your meeting minutes, so on and so forth, to explain everything that's going on. But most people don't do that. They'll look at their account one day and be like, all right, like my personal account running low. I'm just going to go take this business card to the store and swipe it.
Nah, you can't
You no longer have an LLC at that point. You basically have become one with your personal funds.
Yeah.
And how that can hurt you is now you got your 401k, your real estate, all that stuff that you might have on the personal side that now, you know, is open up to liability because you
come in litigation. They come after the person now. You know, mix the funds.
Oh, come on, man.
They call that being deep pocketed. That's not what you want.
You don't never want to mix it too.
Yeah, that's really, really deep. And I think that you guys just, it's something like I said, so commonly misconcepted, but people doing that shit every day.
And honestly, because I'm looking at my notes, I'm like, that's one of the major pitfalls of business as it is. Like, people really do that a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
more often than not.
Like we said, you know, people trying to survive. You see all that money there in your business account. It's like, I'm just going to use it. It's like, no, you can't use it. You know? Yeah.
And I feel like that's the
talk to your
part of that
accountant
mindset.
Talk to your accountant.
here's ways.
You got the boss and you got the worker mindset, though. And I feel like that's part of what that is, though. Like, as a worker, you going to say, oh, yeah, I ain't never seen this amount of money before, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to.
Well, that's people in general. When they get their hands on money, they just don't know what to do. They just and do something dumb with it. So, it's hard for people to break out of bad habits, and then you start a business, it gets even worse.
Yeah.
Like, when do we get to the point where we're like, yo, this is the most money I ever had. How the fuck can I like triple this?
Manage,
Like, from the second that you get it.
Whoa, don't think like that.
Yeah.
Not even like triple like right away, but like not even saying like tomorrow I want triple, but like over time, if this is the most money I have right now, what is the best decision I can make right now that can put me in a place where I don't have to like be like, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Like, not piss it away, so to speak. Like, make sure I make smart choices over time. Just how you were explaining about like investing and not putting all the 10,000 in at one time and just making sure that you're like spreading out a little bit. If I'm getting the right picture about what you were saying, but I'm just that's in essence that's what I mean. Like, making smarter decisions.
You want to
like, if this is the most money I have every time, not go to the mall and spend it, but how can I make this?
I tell you how. It takes discipline.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
I hear people call me cheap all the time, and I don't give a shit what they say because, you know, I know where I came from, and I know how much is in my account and what I can do with it, and it takes a lot to be disciplined. People talk about all these impulse buys and all that nonsense. You know how hard it is for me not to do something like that, or people just to think about, you know, I'm gonna invest that money. I'm gonna come up with a strategy and do something responsible, or make sure I put it away just in case. You know what happened 2020 and 2021 what the pandemic did to people in the real estate industry? If I had been like impulsive with the money, I would be up shit's creek right now. But it takes a lot to be disciplined and not do something and do what you say to do.
Yeah.
So you know that's how you can get to where you're trying to go. I said just thinking like that is like, you know, I have to have a disciplined mindset to just put a plan in place, talk to the right people, and stick to it. Like, because the money just be sitting there, you like, you know, I can just take a vacation. But we think I don't want to just fly out all the time, but you can't. And so, you know, you have to have a plan and discipline to stick to it.
Yeah.
He said two key things: strategy. Well, a few key things: strategy, discipline, and like taking the time to learn things.
Yeah.
Like, instead of worrying about tripling your money, come up with a plan. Make sure that you're learning what you need to learn, and the investments will kind of take care of themselves. So, like, as you make money, if you don't know what to do with it, then do nothing with it.
Nothing.
just be patient. Let it sit in an account that has, a nice little interest rate on it. If you can find one of those with a financial institution that you trust, just let it sit there. Educate yourself, because I'd rather you have the money than not do nothing, and then go invest in something you don't truly understand, and then not understand why prices.
And the only reason I asked that question, because a lot of people I know have been in that position or will be in that position, or just like don't know what to do when that happens. You come into a large, like it's happening to people, like PPA. It's a good example of it. Some people are running through it. Some people are getting it when they're not supposed to be getting it. Some people really are well within their right to get it, but however, how they're dealing with it isn't.
Oh, they blew it.
It's detrimental to their whole position. So that's why I'm asking that question.
I said the same thing.
I had two houses. I got some of that money. These people got a bunch of bags and still living at home.
That's what I'm saying.
It's nonsense.
Yeah.
If somebody like me and him get our hands on money like that, net worth's going up. I want my closet more, designer, but
much more
my portfolio will be booming for sure. There's no way that I don't get me started on that.
And that's when that discipline piece comes in. That's really one of the biggest things. Like you just gotta be. It's that willpower. Like, damn, bitch, I really want to do this, but I need to do this. And I feel like it comes to me, but like with me, with like working out, it's such a mind thing versus a body thing. Yeah, but it really takes you like yo, I don't feel like working out today, but I'm just gonna get up and I'm gonna do it, because you want to know why? Because this results is gonna be crazy, and I'm gonna be happy as hell when I go back and look at my pictures and I'm cool. When you get old, you gonna be wondering.
No, real shit. You gonna be mad as hell when you can't listen.
It's not happening. I'm working out anymore.
Me neither.
It's over.
It's over.
Look at us. Look at this side of the table. Look at that side of the table. They bumping shit. We over here slim.
Oh my God.
They over here sitting like this. We over here chilling like a motherfucker.
I put my time.
I'm not perfect, but I'm just saying.
You just gotta find something you like. Working out don't necessarily see the problem. What y'all both got in common. Y'all don't like it because you haven't figured out what you like. Though.
Absolutely.
You gotta try a bunch of different things.
But that ain't the case for me. Cardio, so.
I just retired from track. It's no more competition.
See,
I don't have a reason. It's no reason for me to go. I never even I only practiced and worked out because I knew I needed to perform well. But so that's what I did. Now I just be like, I'm in the gym, I look around. I be like, why am I in here? I'm trying to maintain this speed till I turn 40. It's like, who am I racing? I'm still out here racing. Like, why am I doing this? Why am I putting myself through this type of stuff? But I do it, but then so I'm in there, I'm like, I got 6 machines that I'm hitting, and I'm out of the joint. My friends that's in the workout, they be like, what you do? I was like, full body, because I might not come back tomorrow.
My man! I'm with the calisthenics all day. I'm gonna jump me some rope, yo. They get your heart rate going and it keep me sleep. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that.
You can play a game of double dutch, but I'm not doing all that.
Yeah. So I got no problem with it. I'm all for the gym and all that, but set program, I just don't have it no more. I get 15 years of track, it's over, man.
Track is built into your DNA.
But it
just takes discipline, yo. A lot of things in life just take discipline. That's the only reason why I just pulled that out, because I know that's something that like a couple of us had.
I'm the most least disciplined person in the room, people. Let me say.
Yeah, she's gonna have a ham sandwich.
Track.
She's gonna have breakfast for ice cream.
I tell Anna all the time that I really think that I was born to be a big person. I really think that my internal is the big person. Like, I'm naturally very greedy. I don't like to work out. There was a point in time where I was overweight, and then boom, shit switched. I've never had to work out for any reason. I'm fucking lazy in that area. I like to eat. I don't like to work out.
Everybody need to work out.
Yeah, they do.
Internally, there is something
going on.
You gotta go. Not saying you have to be like, sweat to oldies or something like that.
Let me tell you something. Listen.
Or putting your body.
When I get up out of my bed every morning, I walk back and forth to the bathroom. I walk to my car. I do my 9 to 5. All of that shit.
Like your body ain't used to that.
I do. I jump in and out of the car. I'm sweating. I take my wig off half the time I'm in the car because I'm sweating. Yo, listen.
You had the light like, who let it breathe?
Listen, I took that shit off my supervisor.
Me screaming at the red light.
I said, yeah, I took it off my desk. I said, I'm sorry, real fast. I said, I was over here sweating. I'm so sorry. She bust out laughing with dead ass. I don't have no reason to need to want to work out. I don't have any grind, any aspiration.
It takes some really mental. I will say because
unless I go overweight again, I'm not working the fuck out, bitch. I'm underweight right now. I'm not doing it.
Your weight has nothing to do with what's it called? Because I'm gonna tell you, Sweetie looked real good and tired when she was up there twerking the other week with that fake ass.
No, I'm not
You hear a lot of
with that
people
fake
walking
ass
around.
butt, and it was all this concrete.
I
I'm sorry to
agree.
get off topic,
They be
but
out
that
of
shit was
breath
not
just walking.
moving, and she
You
was
hear
tired.
people
But this is all me, and I'm not out of breath. This is all me. She had a couple extra silicone ads to it. I'm not out of breath.
There's a lot of slim people you see that just be walking around. You see they be out of breath,
They be
just
out of
walk
breath,
up the
just
steps.
walking.
So you need to
Yep.
work out. Like
You
I
do.
feel like I have to
Your
like
work
do
hands
something.
needed.
I'm not even
And
getting on the
out of my
plane.
car, running up and down the street with my.
Well, you maybe get
95.
some cardio there, but
But it's not really. what
ain't
you
nothing
think it
wrong
is.
with like 2 days at the gym. Maybe
Yeah.
a Zumba class or something like that.
Yep.
Just
Zumba.
Because when you get older, you
Not-
stop moving, your body starts to shut
We're not
down.
talking
Watch
about-
it happen to somebody.
when we're
yo.
talking about workout, we're not talking about for the physical look, but like internally, there's things that's going on
With
that
you.
you need to work out for, like
When
high
I go see my doctor
cholesterol,
on a
things
daily
like
basis, if she tell me there's something I need to do, I'll change it. But outside of that,
She
I'm
don't
not
say
doing
nothing
it.
about
When I
work
saw my
exercise?
doctor, no. When I saw my doctor this year, she said, I ain't gonna even lie, Christine, you one of the healthiest people I've ever seen in my life.
All right, well, you
When
know.
she did all my tests, I'm healthy as fuck.
She is to that. I ain't got nothing left, but she is.
I know you like this. So you might
I'm healthy
might
as
gotta
fuck.
work
I'm
it
not even
out.
trying to be smart.
work
I'm
that liver.
and this is why again, internal health wise, I go to the doctors as I should, and I double check these things with my doctor. So that's why I feel like I don't need to do a whole bunch because I'm just like my doctor don't say I gotta do nothing.
I ain't knocking. I told you, I'm the laziest athlete you're gonna meet, but I know I gotta go in there, so I'm gonna
I
get in
feel
there
like
a little
I'm
bit.
somewhere where he is at.
Oh, I'm definitely, I'm for
I
sure.
can't.
I'm a great athlete, but I'm definitely lazy. When they coaches to say something, it's like, why me, man? Like, why we gotta do all that? Like, why is
Listen,
not
I'm
a
the
simpler
opposite.
way to get
When I
there?
was
But
a
there's no
kid,
simple way to get there.
My first job I ever wanted to be, I wanted to be a food critic.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, man.
I like to eat. Fuck working out.
Well, I mean, for me, like I played Division I basketball, right? And I was one of the smaller players out there. So I was
Excuse me, Mr. Division One.
Yeah, I had to work out a lot more than everybody else to like
did.
hold my own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
when I left school,
the D2 school, I know you did.
see, when I left school or whatever, like it kind of wasn't something that I like know not to do. Like I work
Right,
out
that's
and
normal.
like to this day, like the young guys from around the way or whatever, like I look at myself like a big brother to them, and they kind of continue to respect my voice as long as I'm like holding my own. And I work
That's
right.
right.
You know, like I don't like losing.
Talk your shit.
So,
That's right. Talk your
One
shit.
of my biggest fears is somebody looking at me do anything and say, "Yeah, he fell off."
Oh, yeah.
What? You ain't never seen
I
that.
used to say that to myself. Real shit. I used to say that to myself. Now you know what I say that because anybody who knows me, like who knew me before the last 10 years, I used to be bigger.
Uh-huh.
So I used to say the same thing. I used to say it to myself, like, I don't want nobody looking at me like, oh, that bitch lost weight. She fell off. No, the fuck I did not. Okay?
I feel what you're saying though. Like I'm like that when it comes to my speed. These young guys that come around. I'm on the court. Sometimes I didn't play Division I basketball, but I ran Division II track against a lot of Division I people. So when it's on the court, you know, I don't want to hear like, oh yeah, like you know, something like that. They be like, how old are you? And I tell them my age, they be like, man, no way, man. You was flying up and down. I was like,
That's
yeah.
not me. That's
Don't get
me.
fucked up.
No, Jamir really not old though.
So,
You're not
that's
old,
all
but
athletes.
no. But
But
there are
as a-
people our
as
age
an athlete-
who cannot do what we do. That's what we're saying. If you don't work out, I'm telling you, go out there with the young boys and see what they gonna whoop your ass running up and down that court.
Exactly.
See, I never
As an
played
athlete though, I'm old.
Both of my parents were athletes, and I'm naturally an athletic person. My mom was
I
a
had
gymnast. My dad ran track.
creative art parents. They was
Softball.
in the fucking music program.
Yeah, that too, and they did that too, and it's just like, I mean, listen, my mom was on a power horse, and my dad was down the track with it, so I ain't had no
Niggas
choice.
wasn't moving no fucking way. Fingers up and down too, but voices. They wasn't moving no motherfucking bodies.
So you just get used to a certain lifestyle,
Yeah,
you know,
you really used to being competitive. And,
Yeah.
and running around.
and taking care of ourselves. That was a good segment on health.
We done went from business to health. Shit.
They synonymous.
They are synonymous.
Yeah,
They really are
health
synonymous.
is wealth.
Thank you.
Sure.
Discipline,
Ain't no
yo.
wonder have all that money, you fat and having heart attacks and can't do nothing with
And
it.
you eating
We
in a
all
way.
done been sick to a point where we just like, man, if I make it out of this, I'm going.
Oh,
Yo,
man, yeah.
my sinus infection my freshman year of college.
Now imagine if somebody
That
gave you
ass.
$1 million while you felt like that.
Oh, I'm gonna get through it. I got through it.
But while you felt like that, some people start feeling like that and it don't
And
ever
it
go
don't ever
back.
end.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why
Yeah.
health is wealth. And do you really? As we get older, we're all gonna get more, like we're going to accumulate more resources, and that's when we're going to want to enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, don't put it in the health, you can't enjoy it.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
You die at 52.
She says that all the time. Chrissy, you don't want to be old and you can't do
I'm gonna be a badass, spiked, spunky ass.
But do I gotta
care.
work out to enjoy my old
Yes, bitch. Come on, let's put on our orthopedics and let's go walk.
I'm trying to be that old fashioned that really flying like, hey, 45, yeah.
Alright, I'll
Still
walk around
kicking.
the block, but I'm not about to run no fucking
Well, you ain't
way.
no runner.
Yeah, my mother is almost 60 years old. Let me tell you, that gymnast and that softball and all this, that swimming, my mom is a fish. That shit really, like, you have muscle memory. Although she's not the same way she was, because she was, like, super
You
slim.
can still do it.
She can still do it. To this day, knees still work all day. Like, my mom really be out here like a spring chicken. So I'm trying to be like that.
Yeah, I ain't trying to be older than credit. That ain't it.
That ain't it. I want to be
Walker.
with the grades still.
I don't want to be. I just don't have the discipline to get into.
until
the
you
gym
put in
and
a,
do what
until
I
you're
do.
put in a position where you're just like,
I think there's a lot of people like you, but once they
I think the
start,
average person is like me.
no, once they start, and you talk to a person that doesn't like going to the gym like that, but once they start, they it's a feeling of, I don't know if it's oxytocin, whatever that you get, or something like that. You start feeling like, I want to be in there. Like, I like the feeling of it.
when you're done, you realize what it does to your brain. You're like, yo, I
That's
really
what
do feel
food
good.
does to me. It satisfies me in that nigga.
She said food.
That's what
Okay. Well, we talked about working
Moving
out and
along.
all that. I can't stand none of y'all.
So as we talk about the future, do you guys have like any end of the year or 5-year plans for your businesses or for personal goals for yourself? What do you guys
Yeah.
think?
You gotta have a plan.
I
Sure you
invest
do.
every day of the year, and my schedule for next year already set, and like my 10-year plan is based on what I'm gonna be doing next year and the year after that, I put all my businesses, all my plans are together, what I expect to earn, how I expect to earn it, all that stuff already laid out.
You know what? You about to be my new best friend because I need a little
Literally
bit more
on
this
January 1st, I just hit like 2 buttons and it's done. I just go do my
It's an
job.
accounting mindset right there.
Yeah, I can't.
I can tell.
I
I
can't.
can tell.
You know, I
We
need a more
put this together well. 2 times,
We really
Frank.
did.
We really did.
You're like the black Asian friend that I was looking for. I always said I wanted an Asian best BFF for a reason. They don't gotta be Asian. I wanted them all with my fucking people right here, right? This right here.
Yeah.
Y'all, I marked this. See, don't be surprised if friend, where you at? What you doing?
Look, I'm
I
an open
like
book.
that.
Ask your
Jamir?
questions.
So, all right. So, for somebody that's starting a new business and they want to
Yeah.
establish business and credit, what do you suggest to them?
Get your personal credit right first.
There you
They're gonna
go.
ask you for a guarantor
There
every
you
time.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Unless if you ain't
Yeah.
swinging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be good, but as far as like building it, that's real difficult. You have to work with, especially I'm not a
So
business
difficult.
credit. Yeah. So it's like it's certain places like that don't even report it to the bureaus as a business.
I think you have to sign up to get it reported with
Yeah.
what's
Dun and
Dun and Bradstreet or
Yeah.
something like that. I'm just learning that because this is my first year with my business. Everything else has been personal. It's difficult.
Oh, it's a
Man.
lot too. You ever look at one of those reports, a business credit report?
No.
Oh, they are completely different. They look at the average income, the average
It
balance
is
in your
reported
bank
differently, yeah.
account for like the last 10 months,
Yeah.
all types of stuff that they're like baking into.
Which is more important why you can't be taking money out of the business account.
There
for
you go.
personal reasons.
Y'all
You
better.
know?
You heard what he
Y'all heard
said.
Y'all heard it.
Don't do it, sis. I know you see the 10,000 in there, but you
You
better
don't
hang
do it,
on
sis.
tight.
It's
Get
a-
them
I know you
bundles.
sold a lot of bundles over the year.
Get them bundles on quad pay, bitch.
I recently applied for some lending and they asked the average daily balance for your business account. You got to put it down. It's there. It's like that thing can't be flying up and down like a roller coaster. It's like, oh, what's going
You gotta
on?
keep it
And
steady.
then somebody like him steps in, like if that's doing the reporting or auditing, like it's a lot of swings here, man. Can you explain that? Get some justifications for this?
See, I'm not the best accountant for people. Like, accounting is more of a relationship than a function. I know I'm not for everybody because I still don't agree with like leveraging so much credit because a lot of
Oh, I had that in my notes too. So why can you delve more into that a little bit? Because I actually had that in my notes. I was going to ask y'all about
A
that.
lot of people don't really know how to manage money, so how are you going to go and start leveraging all this credit and you don't really have a strategy? No, people rarely have a strategy to pay it back, and they want to go leverage all this business credit, and they want to jump out the window. And my thing is, why don't you start small? Like Damon John has a book called The Power of Broke, where he talks about people having little sums of money and growing them over time and making the most out of having less. A lot of people think you need a lot, but nah, sometimes having less makes you more creative and makes you pay attention to the details more.
Yep.
And one small operation can be scaled up the right way. Why do you need to start out with money you don't have? You don't have it for a reason, in my opinion. And once you're ready for it, it'll start finding its way to you when you get a product or service that warrants that. So it's like, for me, I would prefer people stay away from those things, and I really hardly ever advise it, because it's rare that somebody is leveraging credit to buy a product that's selling out every time. And I don't like seeing hefty credit card balances on anybody's books, because it's not really doing them any good. So I like lean businesses that run off cash and they have a strong core operation that could be scaled up. And I think we stay at that spot until we figure out that sweet spot, how to get the operation there, and we grow it from there. So credit really doesn't fit into that strategy at all.
That just gave me Shark Tank vibes.
That's complete analysis there. And what he's saying was what I was talking about with investing. When you have to do your research, when you're looking at financial statements, companies have lots of leverage or liabilities on their books. You shouldn't probably be buying those companies, but people don't know it. They may hear, I don't know, Hennessy, I should buy Hennessy Moet stock, but you look at the balance sheet and it's like, man, these people are completely over leveraged. Like, you don't know what's going on. They ain't moving that many bottles of liquor like that.
Exactly.
And so, that's not the way it goes. Even with, you said you don't have a product, you borrow all this money, you have to pay this back. Like, you don't have, unless it's something that, you just have a cash flow issue or something like that you have. There's no way you can get into that business without it. I agree. You shouldn't be trying to over leverage. Even within housing, there's a method called the BRRRR strategy. There's a lot of people look at people and say they have hundreds of properties. Some people don't own that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
They all borrowed all that money, and I had to learn that as I got into the business, because I own 4 of my properties outright. I only have 1 mortgage, and so when people accountants and things like that they was like, oh, you own them all? And it's like, well, that's all I thought to do. I had to save my money to buy. Yeah, and that's what I did.
That's where I'm at with it.
But it's harder to scale up that way, and it's slower, but it's more beneficial. When you have all those people you're indebted to, and something happens, you don't get the rent from this house, rent from that house. Where the money coming from? If it ain't coming in, they still want their payment, and you still paying mortgages. You still ain't got a tenant. You still ain't got. 2020, there was a lot of people who lost their properties because rental income wasn't coming in.
Yeah.
And the bank still wanted their money without, I guess, whatever laws they put in place to stop that, which just still didn't help. You lost out because you were over leveraged, and so you have to have a plan. You could say you borrow 3 mortgages, but you got to work those 3 rental incomes to get the one paid off, and then move that into the next one to get that paid off. Then you can borrow 2 more mortgages like that. But if you just borrowing, you may hear somebody say $1,000 in rent, 700 of it's going back to the damn mortgage company.
Right.
You
ain't getting nothing.
Yeah. So
Yeah. That's why
it's a lot of
that's why I feel like Philly is the way it is right now.
It's you need that, but you need
some of these rents don't make sense for where they at. I'm just saying.
They gotta do that because, like you said,
because of what he's saying. It makes now it's clicking in my head.
You need that, but you need the discipline to manage it, like he said.
Absolutely.
Yeah, people can't manage it. I tell people when they ask me about financial, how should I say, like ways to go about, like I charge everything to my one daily credit card because I don't use my debit card anywhere. But I don't give that strategy to people regularly because they can't manage it.
You shouldn't though.
There's no way. I said I would never tell you to use your credit card because I know from what you're telling me, you can't manage it. You will go over what you got in your account, and next thing you know, you ain't more credit card debt.
Yeah, because you can't pay it right back.
You need an envelope system. You need to have this.
If the business credit, like, it makes me cringe in a lot of different instances because when I see it, people are usually like teaching really bad habits. Like they'll say things like, "This credit doesn't hit your personal credit report." So what does that mean? You don't instill the discipline in yourself you got with your personal credit.
Right, like you just go buck wild with your business.
Exactly, and then they'll say something like, "You could file business, you could file bankruptcy, and all the debt is gone because Donald Trump does it." You got his friends.
That's what I'm saying. Do you got his ends or his friends?
Do you got his
That's
friends?
all I'm saying. Because they know how to hide their shit.
Exactly.
Like that's all I'm
He
saying.
can make a phone call and raise $50 million in 2
There you
hours.
go.
Like, so why are you employing that? But
Mm-hmm.
if you get to a point, I don't care if you only got $100,000 after 10 years of investing. If it ain't got no debt attached to it, you kind of in the 1% of your age group right now.
Exactly.
Most people not.
People don't even realize with the 1%, 2%, it ain't, that number ain't that far away from like 150,000. And it's sad.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
But it's like, you know, that's where the 1% start at. Like everybody else is below that. So yeah, you are doing okay. Of course you want to be doing better, but it's not bad.
Yeah,
you know?
look at it. People think that it's something that's so far fetched that they can't. That it's like intangible. It's something that they cannot get.
Man, people hear $100,000 salary,
Man.
they be like, "Oh man, you rich as hell." It's like, fam, it's not that much.
You want to say
It's really not that much.
Not to go back
After
to
that,
power,
it's really
but
not
you
that
want to know what
much.
I thought was funny in the scene where Brent is talking to Tyreek and he's like, "Yeah, my parents are rich, but they not that rich. They only make $400,000 combined together." Did you? I don't know if you guys watched that show, but I laughed to myself because I'm just like, "Motherfucker, do you know that the average person don't have that?" Like, but when you look at the numbers, he's not like yo, like this is what it is, and like this is why we have
his
the
head
lifestyle
is
we
just
got.
like, no, my parents
not that rich.
Especially if you live lavishly. Yeah, that money ain't going that far. Like Kevin Hart said, his lazy. My bank account ain't set up like that. My numbers ain't big numbers. I can buy one bottle over here. These niggas is buying 20, 30. And he realized that. He know the difference. It's a difference.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So yeah.
I like that.
I like that. That was a great answer to that question.
Do you have anything else? Because I was going to give them the wrap up question.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I don't, but I did want to ask them if they had anything that they wanted to tell the people, like that they feel like people are lacking, especially people who are in a position, people who are open to learning, not even those who are just not open, but people who want to move on with their lives and want to be better at
people
this
who
sector.
mentally are on you guys' level, and just want to move forward. They may not have the tangible assets or the finances, but they're mentally where you guys are at, so they can just go for it.
What do you mean, like?
Because I feel like I run into a lot of guys who not like a lot of guys
who think like you, but don't
people
have the
they like numbers, right? But they just don't like have
the drive or something.
Not even they don't. I guess they just don't know what to do.
Well, that's
not even just guys, just people. Period.
Some people are interested in some things but don't know where to start.
I can speak on just a little, and because sometimes you don't know where to start. It's so much. He's saying one thing, I'm saying thing, you saying, you don't know where to go, you don't know who to talk to. It's so much information. And I was like that a little bit too, even just starting a business. Like, you know, it's just, you got this group of folks telling me I got to hire this team to get this done. You just have to, you're going to have to jump out there. That's the only way. You got to start. And that's, educate yourself, talk to people. You know, if he said it and you say it, but I don't, then that's two people that's saying two things alike, then you can go off of that information. It's I think we're in an era of more information than people can process these days. It's like, it's so much out there. You know, like before you would go to the bank to get certain financial trusted. Now you got YouTube, Facebook statuses, people on podcasts. You know, it may be a little overload, but so you want to go, you're just like, oh, you know, I think it's called analysis paralysis. Yeah. And so, and it happens, and I get it, because you know, we ain't, well, I don't know everybody's situation, but I ain't got money being invested and wasted, and so I want to make sure I do it right, and that's how I roll. I know I can take losses, but I try to make my calculations and make sure I ain't taking on no loss. And if there is a loss that may possibly occur, I can get out of that. Mm-hmm. But it's hard to prevent. Like, you know, that's just the way the game is. Yeah. But you're going to have to start. And then that's what you're going to do. You have to take some advice somewhere.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. Just start. I think that's a big thing. Yeah. Go ahead.
So my thing is, like, I got a lot of my principles, some from books, some from classes, some from movies, right? But the book that changed my life was The Richest Man in Babylon. So I would recommend a lot of people read that one, because it teaches a lot of principles. So even if you're not ready to invest, when you are ready to invest, reading that book will equip you with the tools that you need to know how to make a good decision. Like, it's told through story, so it's not technical. It's not NASDAQ charts and all that, like The Intelligent Investor by Ben Graham. It's not that. It's like literally told from a position of like ancient history, and they're just telling history, like they're telling stories about how people went from rags to riches and the principles that they use. They talk about good credit in there, but in other terms, they talk about compound interest. That's taking your money, investing your money, and when that makes money, guess what we do with that? We invest that too. And so it's like you just keep investing. But like, people gotta realize, you know, in the movie 300 was another one, American Gangster was another one, because it showed me.
Two of my favorite movies.
That's what I'm saying. It's really about realizing that we all about to go on our own journey. Like, we might meet at the same place later on and whatnot, but we're all going on our own journey. You got to figure out who you are. Get a notebook out. Write what. Talk about how you feel about stocks. Why am I afraid of stocks? It was because my uncle kept telling me he got cooked when I was like 8 in the stock market because he tried to bet $5,000 on a penny stock that he got a tip about in the lunchroom.
God.
So now he's telling everybody in the family. Yeah, now he's telling everybody in the family that the stock market is bad. Is it because my other uncle didn't know how to buy real estate and he got a house back before, they had FHA programs that would have people go out and review the properties. So they used to sell us those houses for $1 and those houses were in awful shape and we got to see that, and then our grandparents told us don't ever buy a house because of that. Like, go figure out why you feel the way that you feel about things. Figure that out. Figure out who you are, and then you start your journey. But it starts with understanding who you are and learning why you feel the way about things that you feel about them. And then once you can identify who you are and what point you're at, you can start healing those wounds, moving forward, making investments without being so skeptical or afraid. You can really embrace that part of yourself.
It's like investment therapy.
Yeah. That's crazy that you said it because
No, it's really is.
you said investment therapy, investment, finances, numbers, that's all your shit. But as a therapist, social work, human services,
we already talked about
that's my field. And literally, the entire spiel that you just went through, that's exactly the whole mindset that I went through when I made the decision to get my MBA.
People are going to fail.
I talk to people like that.
That happens.
Yeah, all the time.
Those people fail, people in your family, use those failures as learning opportunities. What you do?
Do something different.
I'm going to make sure I don't do that.
Do something different.
How'd you buy the house? You only put down 3.5? Well, I'm trying to do something better than that because I don't have to pay PMI or things like that. Understand that. You got to learn. Even if you haven't had the experience, you can learn from others' experiences and things like that. Just even growing up in the house, you can see what my parents do. Oh, I know for sure. Me personally, I got a parent. I do the opposite of what they do. I won't say which one. I do the opposite. My life turned out all right.
Absolutely, 2 times.
My life turned out all right. So you learn from those experiences. Don't let them hold you back. Learn from them and grow. So.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Yes, I definitely think because money, I'm a firm believer that money is actually energy also. Like, it's energy too. Like, you really got to look at it that way because, like, it really flows in and out. Like, oh, that shit is crazy. Like, when you really think about it, it really is energy. I'm sorry, I'm just having a moment right here. But, is that all you guys wanted to give us as far as, like, your tidbits and things like that?
Thank you as much as you ask.
I appreciate you guys. Well,
I'm going to drink and try.
What did 2021 specifically this year teach you guys, whether it's personally or in business? What did 2021 teach you guys?
I was way too generous. Like, I really needed to. I was way too generous. Oh, I got dirty this year. So my thing was like, I want to continue to bless others, but I need to do more homework. I need to, dig deeper into, background and situations that I'm going to involve myself in. And I want to continue to give to people, but I want to make sure I'm not sacrificing my future at the
expense of other people.
Amen to that.
I agree. Sometimes as a business owner, and especially in real estate investing, you don't want to. You want to give to people. You want to help folks out, but at the same time, you got to think about yourself. And I tell my tenants that all the time. It's like, look, if you're going to say, just call me. Let me know. I'm able to work. I understand. But when you don't. Now you put me in a position, I can't help you. You ain't trying to help yourself, help me, help you. And so now I got to throw you out. And that's not what I want to do, but I got to think about myself. Just because you can't pay or something's going on, I can't pay. I got taxes to pay. I'm losing money and things like that. So, it's not nothing personal, but, I can only do but so much. And so you said too generous, I can be somewhat. But at some point, I'm losing myself in this situation.
Right.
I'm just trying to help you only.
Right.
And so, I would say for 2021, I would say, for me, I would say be prepared for, be prepared for the unexpected, and be prepared to adapt, as things move, because you just don't know what's like under all this that happened in 2020 and 2021. No one was ready for it. We ain't never seen nothing like this. You all kinds of things are going on, and if you ain't adapt, you was gonna get left behind, and you was gonna lose a lot of things. And a lot of people, you had to learn how to work with people different, communicate different, how to
Listen.
all things are
Because when you go from in person to virtual with the kind of job I do, that shit is not easy. And honestly, to this day, like, they gotta give me my flowers because it's just like, bitch, you are the blueprint. Period. And I can take that role with a little top hat on top of it.
Adaptation is a thing. That's why certain species survive and others don't. And,
Listen, I hit the ground running on that motherfucker. Seriously.
I appreciate you guys. Well,
this is a great conversation.
This was a great segment, a great topic, great conversation. So, for anybody who's watched the show in the past or recently, we all do Bosses of the Week. So, our guests are always our bosses of the week. Period. So I want you guys individually to let people know where to find you, whether you guys are going to provide a service, well, not a product, but yes, a service between the two of you. If you do not, that's absolutely okay. Or whether it's just your social media, just to engage with you. In general, we just want to let the audience know where to find you guys.
If they have questions, yeah.
Gotcha. You can find me on Instagram, _tax_breaker. _tax_breaker.
And I'm also on Instagram at @ScaleYourTees_Jamir. I don't have any services, but I'm always available for any questions anybody may have.
I mean, we don't know anybody make a little LOC after this episode.
I mean, I got one, but anything I could, if I know something, you know it. If I can point you in the right direction, then I will. So,
So there we go. A friend of the show is a friend of yours.
Yeah.
So there we go.
And listen, y'all know we don't choose. Nobody don't know what they talking about, so y'all know y'all can depend on us.
Yeah.
Period.
Count on us, y'all. We like Brandy and Monica. Count on us.
Yes, okay? Yes.
So that is the wrap up for this episode. These are our bosses of the week. Thank you so much, Mr. Gates and Mr. Thompson, for joining us on another episode of To Each His Own. Thank you guys, the tribe, for joining us. And
this is actually the episode to end out our year.
Yes, this is the final episode of the year. So we wanted to make sure we set our people up with a little business mindset, do's and don'ts, make sure they know what to tap into. It's a new year, people have New Year's resolutions, goals and things like that. So we felt like this episode would really be a big help to our audience during this time. So write
it out, because I'm not gonna lie to you. My little sister surprised me. She impressed me. She got her whole dream house written out, measurements, everything.
As she should.
Like, she is a bad bitch. I'm trying to tell you.
As she should.
Everything written out. And I was so impressed by that, and that really inspired me. I just wanted to put that out there. Like, you really inspired me, baby sis. We on this shit. We out here. We getting it, and we about to...
Let me know how much you made the lead measure for you.
Interior design is her other dream besides hair, bitch. Let me know.
Writing it out is definitely important. Someone got me into write my goals out at the end of the year, and I'm able to visualize them a lot better.
Vision boards have been a big thing.
It wasn't a vision board, but she just told me, she was like, oh, what's your goal? I had never had nobody ask me that question. And then I started doing it. I was like, damn, I really appreciate her to bring that to me. And I do it a lot. I do it every year now. I make sure now. I look at my list and it's like, what did I do? And how can I get to that next year and do better by it?
There you go. Knock it out. Knock it out.
As you said, I appreciate you. So again, we appreciate you guys for joining us today on our final episode of 2021 as we wrap up the 2021 year. So again, follow these guys on social media. Follow us on social media. Be sure to tap in with us to let us know your thoughts on this week's episode. And I am your host, Ms. Lomax.
And I'm your host, Sunkiss_Shock. And I do want to add, please hit them up with serious inquiries only.
Yes.
We won't play them kind of
games. No
games.
bullshit, because y'all already know how we get. Y'all want me to go from serious to good one, though. So,
none of them scams.
None of them scams. They too
we
smart to fall
for
for
that. Scam life. Y'all heard how smart they was.
Don't try. So I am Sunkiss_Shock.
And I am Miss Lomax, and together we are
To Each His Own.
Thank you guys for joining us on another episode. Bye.
Bye. I'm about to go fucking turn that shit off.
I got it.
Alright, let me pause it.
Maybe we won't edit that part out anyway, so that's fine.